Yes, sir. Actually, I request all Rotarians, meeting call to order. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Rotary meeting. ಬರ್ತೀಯಾ?
Good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you to today's special meeting. I welcome our District Governor-elect, Dr. Gauri Madam, to this meeting. Very warm welcome to you, Madam. I welcome President Rotarian PHF Hemant Khan, President of Rotary Club Udupi, and Rotarian Ganesh Nayak, Rotary Club President of Rotary Club Manipal Town, and all the members of Rotary Club Manipal, Rotary Club Udupi, and Rotary Manipal Town. As you all know that we are observing Children of Alcoholics Awareness Week internationally in many nations, collectively standing up for the children who stay with parents who are affected by alcoholism. So it's the solidarity to stand up with the children. The theme is be the change, stand up for the children. So today we are here to discuss about what exactly these children with parents of addiction suffer, and as a responsible NGO, Rotary Club, what can we do to reduce the problem so that the children have better childhood, and so-called problems which we see research tells they suffer emotional, behavioral, and cognitive impairments in the children will be reduced if some responsible adult comes in their way of life and helps them to reduce these problems. So we have research substantiating these children suffer lot of cognitive problems, and which hence affects their learning. And also research suggests that in-time intervention will prevent these damages. So, as we all know that Rotary Club Manipal is taking part in Rotary, the activities of COA week every year in February ever since 2017. We have been conducting awareness talks, the public programs like Standard, the kite festivals, and conducting workshop for the children, theater activities. Maybe I can just brief on them after a couple of minutes with my PowerPoint presentation. We are having a special guest today, Dr. Maya Parker. Dr. Maya, have you joined? Can you open your camera, please? Okay, I think we'll wait for her to join. So, before Dr. Maya joins us, I will just take you through a small presentation. Quickly, I'll go through a few slides which through years the Rotary is participating. So, Dr. Girija was asking me why all this started. It is the few years ago, I had couple of slides are moving one after the other. So a few years ago, I had couple of clients who are mainly brought for the reason the girl is refusing to marry. She was already 30 plus, and the parents were upset that she has already cancelled more than 30 proposals. She picks up some or other reason and tells that she don't want to marry. So when we spoke to her privately, yes, Maya joined. Maya will just take a couple of minutes.
Hi.
Hi, very warm welcome to you. Hope you have no technical difficulties.
Yes. Could you also send this link, your link, to a lady called Cam Dylan
Yes.
at because she will join us.
Yes, please.
Yes, I will give you her. Cam Dylan at oh God Almighty, you know, honestly, she's got a she's an Indian and she wants to be involved. Wait a minute.
You can share the same password.
Wait. Cam Dylan at mail.com and she will join us. Welcome.
Okay.
We have to send her the mail.
Yeah, Cam Dylan at mail.com. Cam is Indian with the history of alcoholism in the family, so she wants to share with you her recovery, etc. Okay. Lovely to see you all. Welcome. Sorry to have a bit of problems with connecting to you. And okay. Now I can see all of you. So hi. Hi, Dr. Virupaksha De Brahma. Hi. Hi, everyone. Yeah. So would you like me to start? Would you like me to chat about NACOA or my private life, how we started? What would you like me to do?
Just give me a minute. We will just introduce you and then you can go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. So it is wonderful to have Maya Parker here. She is co-founder of NACOA. And years back, when we started, working with children of alcoholics, I started searching the real problems of alcoholics and can I get any literature on net? And to my surprise, I saw this COA week. So I was surprised that I am just looking for the problems of COA and somebody is already celebrating COA week. Then I got surprised and I searched on net. Then I saw we have just started the work by then. The other part of the world in UK and USA, they are doing it for 29 years. So
Yes,
that's how-
over 30 now. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's how then I started troubling you people to get more information that, and I got lovely information, all the resource material for teachers, professionals, parents, and we started really celebrating COA week in India ever since 2016. Okay, so
okay.
here, Maggie, just a minute. We will introduce our special guest, a lovely person, Maya. Prashant will help me to share the screen.
Maya is a Jungian-oriented psychotherapist in private practice since 1984. She believes in a holistic approach, helping to heal body, soul, and mind. She specializes in treating children recovering from the effects of parental addiction as well as individuals recovering from addiction themselves. She is a skilled practitioner with over 25 years' experience of counseling victims of trauma, understanding and working within the parameters of post-traumatic stress disorder. She also has a special interest in women's issues and the impact of depression and anxiety disorders. Maya is a co-founder of COA and has served as a trustee since 1990, devoting much of her time to ensure that the helpline is well supported and supervised, and able to provide helpline callers with a consistent, excellent, and compassionate service. Here is Maya for you.
Thank you very much for this lovely introduction. It's my honor to be invited, as I have been to your country many, many times, and have been also many years ago have been approached by Indian people to find a school of therapy there as much as Chinese people. But I decided that being Polish is bad enough and that I will be doing my best in the best possible way in England. I myself, I'm over 70, deeply traumatized family, deeply traumatized country, deeply post-traumatic church, deeply shaken by my life, by my father's alcoholism, by my mother's departure, early departure at the age of 44. At the age of 17, I became a mother and took upon myself in a good heroic style to take care, in a good Indian style to take care of the whole family. So I spent years and lots of money to trying to help this shaken, post-traumatic, as I didn't realize, unavailable family. So they took my money, they took what they could, but they were totally rejecting, immensely shame-based, terrified of my new information. I have come to my own recovery in 1979 and worked since 1982 with Polish 1984, with international people, also with Indian, quite a lot of Indian, very different country of India, and have been honored to be working with people of various faiths, various nationality, who were facing their own almighty traumas, almighty abuse, including satanic abuse, including sexual abuse, which is very common in the family of alcoholics. Violence and abuse and the secrets is very common. This family, dysfunctional families, are all about secrets. And I know by working with your culture people, how whether they are Sikh or Hindu or Muslim, how the family pressure is, we must never ever show anything outside. We must present ourselves with this marvelous family image. So in the pathological family, everybody is deeply unhappy. Alcoholic families, every member is unhappy. The parents are unhappy. The children are adapting to this situation. It depends on the way they are born, depends which child they are. In the family systemic work, we can more or less assume what they would be doing. So this whole thing about enmeshment rather than respect and space means that the family members serve this vision, this persona of the family outside. And sometimes the family could literally experience concentration camps abuse, incredible amount of pain, and nobody knows. So NACOA concept of creating a charity was about to give a voice to those people, all of us, whether we are young children of alcoholics or dysfunctional families, or whether we are in our 70s or 80s, we still can be children of alcoholics. The concept of adult child of alcoholic, which is connected to trauma, and our work as a charity which informs people, we used to did the leaflets for teachers, for social workers, for Rotary clubs, for the police, to inform people what it means to deal with somebody who is broken, silent, shame-based, be it very clever child, who is completely forsaken. Because clever children will not allow you to see that they are broken. Clever children will not allow you to see that they are forsaken. So we decided in connection to Americans, a lady who was creating NACOA there, Sharon Wischeider-Cruz, who trained me in codependency and issues of trauma in 1986. She got lots of money from some wealthy man. We decided, 5 of us, including the MD of NACOA and me, to create an English version of it. We started with nothing. We kind of gathered together. And today we are one of the most leading charity of England. We have at the moment today, for instance, a lecture in Parliament. We lobbied in Parliament. We got quite a lot of money for other charities which are connected to addiction. Addiction as such is very much connected to shame, to secrets, yeah? And children of alcoholics lose their voice. To survive some almighty ordeal, maybe with violent father or maybe with violent mother, maybe sexual abuse, you have to be silent. So this disease silences us. So our NACOA charity is about giving voice to these silent sufferers. Whether they are small, we trained a lot of people, you know, and we ran a free helpline where kids, all adults can phone us and share with them their terror, their traumas. We inform enormous amount of people. We meet with press, we meet with teachers. There are people who now wrote books for children of alcoholics. There's a lots of interest because there is 2.5 million of children who suffer. We answer over 100,000 phone calls already. So to actually come forward, for instance, for somebody like me, who is trained as a Jungian analyst and trained as a developmentalist, understanding the brain growth with trauma, which could be smaller. And if you traumatize before a year, you can be completely packed and be in shock. Or as a child or baby, you can be completely depressed, silent. Mother busy with alcoholic may think, what an agreeable child she's got. Well, that child is gone by that time. That child is just trying to survive. So COA is really serving a vast amount of people and informing vast amount of people what it means that the silent killer, the silent disease, this silent situation, why is it silent? I believe as a therapist and as a humanist and as a person who is open and study various aspects of human nature, including your Ayurveda. I've been to many ashrams and yoga practice, including Chinese medicine, including homeopathy, including verbal words. With trauma, we need to involve the body. Yeah, in your culture, you've got your Bollywood, which I love. You know, you dance, you sing, you do all sorts of things, at least. But there is a hidden agenda. When I work with Indian ladies who come from alcoholic families, there is even more dense security about not to come out with it. Hence, there's not as much or as many Indian people living in England who are in recovery, whether they go to treatments, whether they go to meetings, because there is this absolute pressure, if I may say so, as Paul, who comes from similar background. You must be seen, you know, I wear your lovely Indian scarves. I adore your scarves. So you must be seen to do well. And lots of children of alcoholics, they will become either high achievers or underachievers. They may become extremely agreeable or extremely disagreeable. Yeah, there are various structures to every child. You know, there could be some heroic people at the expense of their inner life. So they may have, as adults, because when you traumatize and you don't address that, and you don't have any angel who can save you, which could be embodied in a granny or uncle or a teacher, the child who has got an angel, as I call it, would do better. The child might go to the neighbors and see that the neighbor's family structure is slightly different to his or hers. So when the child hasn't got anything, the child will collapse internally. And what would happen with trauma is that as a young child, they will be moving that to adults. So where would they have problems? They may be very well educated if they're clever. They may be capable. They may be reproducing sexually. They may have lovely homes. But what would happen, which arena would be suffering, is intimate relationship. I have people, wealthy people who come to me, you know, and say, well, Madam Parker, could you tell me what women are all about? I have five wives. I don't know what the hell is going on. I said, well, could you just tell me about your mama? Well, she's all right. You know, she's great. I said, well, she maybe had a drinking problem. How do you know? Well, I said, you've just married five mothers. So that's how I know. So maybe it's time you divorce your mother. That's my work. Can you recognize something here? Or women may go and say, to one of my colleagues in one conference said, she works with lots of Hollywood, you know, this very famous actress said, I had 5 husbands, I've had it, you know. And then she looked at this, Rokele Lerner is her name, wonderful Jewish woman. And Rokele smiled to her and she said, oh, I know, I have divorced the wrong man. Ah, Rokele said, you got it. You should divorce your husband, your father. So the internalized parents, the structure which in our head, we carry those messages, you see. So Freud called that superego, you know, this don'ts and shoulds, and you have to, you ought to, you mustn't speak about it, you know, how dare you. The kids can be beaten up for getting information to school, for instance. So there is involved the terror. How can the child will die to be loved by a parent. I know that as a teacher, as a therapist, as an experienced thinker. I've seen thousands of people. I work so many years. I've dedicated my life for healing myself as much as others, particularly women, because I know women is a base, emotional base for the welfare of the family. And a female child of alcoholic will have no clue how to handle a man or children. Yeah, she will have no idea. So this is what this charity is part of, that information packet. Yeah, part of neutralizing the button, because alcoholism, dysfunctions are based on shame. Imagine the amount of shame. The shame will kill you off, will destroy you. You will have to try to be somewhere, somebody else. You're not going to talk about yourself. Besides, you don't know who you are. You're just a box of surviving tools, yeah? Defense mechanism, archetypes. You are not actually authentic. So what we do, what we invite people to do, what we create for people as a charity, or me personally, is to create a safe place, to create a spiritual family, to create a place where people can come and say, I wish I had COA 20 years ago. I wish I had know about you many years ago, because then that I would save myself suicide attempts. So I would save myself 2 marriages. I would save myself lots of money and lots of health. So our charity, our purpose of our charity is to make as many people as possible informed that this is not a small problem. Whether I always said, when I lecture in Poland, that England drinks like hell and doesn't talk about it. Poles drink like fish, but they talk about it. Both of them do nothing about it. The outcome is the same. It's just the style of using is different, yeah? Since I'm a Pole, so I have affinity with your culture, you see, because I know what that shame does to my family. I used to, in my codependency, we call it, in my passion to repair my family, bombard them with information as I do with you. However, they were just saying, leave us alone. Yes, they took my money, and I'm a lunatic, you see, I'm a scapegoat. Scapegoat is very important for the family of dysfunction. The scapegoat is somebody who carries the sickness of the family. As long as you're in denial and you don't want to look at it, you will need a scapegoat. A scapegoat, usually psychically emotional, is a strong child. The child who can take the beating, the child who can take the shaming, the child who can take abuse, the child who would help them. A scapegoat is necessary. So that's part of that dysfunction in the family. Yeah. So when we invite people, when we lecture, when we inform, usually even people who come to us to help us, they will recognize certain patterns about themselves. Yeah, so we have policy of having non-shaming, kind, benign presence. Yeah, and yet enormous amount of studies were done. We had 2 studies, about the physical effects of trauma done by our psychologists, and they studied heart rates, the adrenaline position, cortisol position, etc., neurophysiologically. And what they discover in the studies, that say that the family had a sick child, say schizophrenic, or the family had a father who nearly died in car accident and was in the wheelchair, and the alcoholic father, the damage which was done to people, the most damage was done by alcoholic families. Okay, not the family who had schizophrenic child. Somehow there's less shame attached to it, you see. Shame is a killer. If you're guilty, you've done something wrong, yes? If you're ashamed, and children of alcoholics are basically shame-based people, that means you are wrong. Not that you've done something wrong, you are basically wrong. So my work personally with the trauma is a very much an invitation to diffuse that bubble, to diffuse and say, no, you're not wrong. This was never your problem. You don't have to carry that shame for your parents, yeah? it's also generational. In my culture, I always used to say, I had two sisters, I lost one, and the brother said, who used to say to me, well, your father is an alcoholic, ours is not. I said, funny that. Every uncle is an alcoholic and every auntie married an alcoholic, otherwise we don't have problems. Well, that is a denial, isn't it? That is a denial, family based on denial or individual based in denial. Means that everybody will see around what's going on, but that person will hold on to their defense mechanism. That person will kill if you take that away from them, yeah? So if you create your surviving as if self, as very famous psychiatrist in England, Winnicott put it, you float. And what happens when you go into intimate relationship, you will choose unavailable people to you. You will choose dangerous people. That's given. So you see how this pattern repeats. So my job, not as a NACOA member, but as a therapist, is to see and show people, mirror to them, look what you're doing, yeah, and give them hope. We give hope as NACOA, and I give hope as a personal therapist. Look, there is other way of dealing with life. Yeah, we don't have to be stuck. The problem existed, as Americans would put it, for years. But I was involved in this pioneering work, pioneering in the sense that we now know what to do about it. The problem, humanity has good problems. We are traumatized, all of us, yeah, whether it's you or me or my culture or your culture, African or European, we're traumatized. The point is, can we break the spell? Yeah, can we break the shame? Can we really, truly do it? I studied genetics since I was 15. This is one of my little passion. You see, I'm a perpetual student, you see, compulsive learner. So that was my addiction. So tell me how much I've got. So I know that it takes about 6, 7, 8 generations to finish us off. But I also know that it takes 3 generations to repair. You can change DNA. The Edinburgh scientists about 3 years ago published in Daily Telegraph, we now know that trauma is inherited. I said, well, I could have told you that 35 years ago. So we know that. In other words, whatever we break in our personal journey, you are giving your grandchild that freedom. Whatever you change your biochemistry, you change your brain, you change your DNA, imagine the power. And that's why I am a trauma-based healer. That's why I work the way I do. I will use many people. I will always involve visceral healing, yeah, a trauma healing. I will involve biochemical supplements. I will involve emotional healing. I will involve education, every aspect. And then as a woman, I had dedicated my life to women. I always say it's my must to work with a woman, and it's my honor to save you guys. Because you guys, you're like a tulip. When you open, it's so beautiful. It's just lots of women don't know what to do with you. You know, so I said, you need to be a woman to know how to serve a man. You need to be a man to know how to serve a woman. Children of alcoholics, adult children, children of dysfunctional family, they have no clue. They've never been exposed to that. Having heaven's name, they come as a laugh addict, they fantasies. The ego is full of fantasies. It's not a mature ego. So they learn from films and from books and happy ending films. I love you, baby. And they blast themselves to the marriage. And then after a year, they said, well, it doesn't work. I said, well, you've been investing in this love bubble, and this fantasy has got nothing to do with reality. So my real story is about introducing people to reality and to spirituality. We heal through spirit, through our surrender to the enormity what we're dealing with. We knew when we started with NACOA that it's not going to be easy, because you see rich people, they want to go to Red Cross balls, and they want to go to this, and they want to be seen and be in parliament and all that. we are the salt of earth. We're quietly going about doing our job. After these years, after 30 years, after 25 years, people start noticing that we, for instance, have enormous amount of helpers, really people who are not paid, who just do our programs or our internet or whatever. So as a charity, we are known to involve many, many people who are part of that charity without earning anything. And that's our great honor and great blessings. Lots of youngsters at the moment, you know, in a minute in Parliament, there will be a lecture under the name of David Stafford, who was also our, co-founder, lovely human being, who worked, for instance, not with the victims of sexual abuse, but with perpetrator. Imagine the glory of that man who took upon his soul and upon his spirit to help the sexual perpetrator. Most of the sexual abuse, which very common in family of alcoholics, happens among siblings. Most of the sexual abuse is hidden, yeah? The children would not come. Very often I heard as a therapist that the child would go to the mother and say, "Mommy, but uncle was really doing naughty things," and mother would shut them up for the sake of the family persona. I work with a very affluent gentleman from affluent country of Arabic nature, who was raped by one of the staff, and he came as a 6-year-old boy. And the parents said, "Look, we cannot possibly fire the gardener." Imagine the shame of this family who have billions, okay? Imagine the shock of that child who heard from his father, who's supposed to protect him, and the mother who's supposed to cry buckets of diamond tears, who said, "You know, child, he's going to work for us forever." Well, this man is dead at this particular moment. Suicides, homicides are very common. We know statistically that if you have 4 or 5 children, 3 or 4 out of them would marry an alcoholic, become an alcoholic, would commit suicide or kill somebody. And why not more people hear this statistic? This is not a joke. How are we supposed to heal humanity if we don't address the basic stuff? Yeah. So I am this passionate creature, you know, who names the brick. Yeah. I don't make it the rose. We have to, and for that we have to be sober. Sobriety is a complex thing. So education is part of it. Just because you stop drinking doesn't mean you're sober. We have to be mentally sober, emotionally sober, spiritually sober, bodily sober. That's my job, yeah? What it means to be mentally sober, to cut off the script. Sometimes as a therapist, when I lecture, I say to people, you know, a real freedom, as philosophers would put it, is the freedom of family complex. If you describe me, you would say, well, she's Polish. But if you say she's a typical Polish, people just roar with laughter. I'm kind of most eccentric shrink in town. I think it's a compliment, because if I invite people, yeah, to become themselves, they have to see that I am me. And I will share, look, it took me years to become authentic and free myself from shame and not apologize. I'm a scholarly person. Of course I am. I'm a compulsive learner. I've got more diplomas. If I recite your diplomas, you'll get bored and say, listen, shut up, we're going for a coffee, you know? And people laugh when I lecture because they don't believe that I have all these diplomas. But the point is, that's my addiction, and I lost a lot of life for it. I always say to patients, yes, you pay me quite a lot of money for my having a good head on my shoulder, but I lost the same amount of life as every alcoholic, drug addict, sex addict, and gambler. I lost the opportunities because we do. I lost the relationship because we do. I sabotage my because I didn't believe it. Shame means you don't believe. You don't exist. If somebody compliments you, you think they're talking about somebody else. Shame means you finish. Yeah. You have to somehow survive and deliver something. So NACOA is part of that movement. Yeah. This time it's good because many young people are involved with NACOA. When we started, that wasn't the case. So 32 years, we have many rewards. We were given by our gracious Majesty OBE as charity. We have a right to use her stamp. Hillary got personal. We become a Woman of the Year. She's a brilliant woman, absolutely dedicated to serve NACOA, and I serve her and NACOA as a supervisor and a granny of NACOA. So absolutely worth having in India. I know there is a lot of problem there because I work with enough people to know your country, as it is everywhere. There will be minute cultural differences, that's all. But we have to start somewhere, whether it's Russia, whether it's Poland, whether it's Norway, whether it's whatever, yeah? So this is what needs to happen. But if you have any question to me or personal question or professional question, feel free, so we can have a bit of a dialogue.
Yes. Hello. So, okay, am I audible? Maya, Madam Maya, it was amazing to listen to you. Such an energetic speech, and I wish whole world should hear to you, listen to you. The today's talk, it comes, I know, it comes with a very hard way you have gone through, and special thanks from Rotary Club Manipal, Rotary Club Udupi, and Rotary Club Manipal Town. So though you see only few faces here, we are sitting in a hall together, listening to you. So all club members, the Rotary Club Manipal, it is 64 years old Rotary Club based in Manipal in India. So it is committed and working with all COA activities for last 7 years. So thank you. Yeah, you can see all our Rotary members now. Yeah, say hi to Madam Maya,
Hi.
all of you.
Hi.
Okay, so special thanks to you and my mentor, Hillary Madam. I think she has not switched on her camera. Thank you, CEO Madam. Thank you, Maya Madam. You both are really doing wonderful job, and you showed us the path how to go ahead with COAs, and especially today's lecture. You made us understand that we are in very infancy. Our work with COAs is at infancy. Thank you very, very much. And we will be grateful to you. Yes, we'll take a couple of questions from our members too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any doubts, clarifications? Madam, you stay there. We would like to just take a photograph with you. Okay,
Absolutely.
you be there.
Yes.
We are taking photo with you on screen here. You put madam. Sit. Yes, you come here at least. I'll introduce her. You come. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ, ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಒಂಚೂರು ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಎಸ್ 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 ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಗೌರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಗೌರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ. Maya, Madam Maya, Dr. Gauri is sitting next to me. Yes, she is a pediatrician and she will be the district governor of Rotary district 3182 in India. Okay, she is working closely with problems of children, especially learning
Alcohol
difficulties.
syndrome, yeah. I have been to parliament, you know, with debates with alcohol syndrome children and drug syndrome. Yes, they're born drunk. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, then you come here only. We'll adjust and sit. Yeah, ಅಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶಾಟ್ ತಗೊಳಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಅಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶಾಟ್.
Traumatized mother, you know, Madam Pediatrician would have a traumatic birth. Yeah.
This is not necessary. Yeah. Okay. ಅಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶಾಟ್ ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಡಿ. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶಾಟ್ ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಡಿ.
ಗೌರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಹಾಲ್ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ, ರೋಟರಿ ಹಾಲ್.
ಸರಿ. Okay. Thank you very much.
Dan, may I just share with you a last thought, and thank you very much for kindly inviting me. It's my honor. I just share with you what was in my heart. As a matter of fact, working with an Indian patient, a lady who wanted to be with you. But one of the American President Adams, I think, said such a thing, talking about healing, generational healing. I am a soldier, so my son can be a farmer, and so my grandson can be a poet. And that is what we're all about. Your work, our work is about really making a difference. And as long as we can do that in our personal life, start with ourselves, with our nears and dears, and then spreading really like a spider web globally, whether it's your country, my country. That's what it is all about. And this is my honor and great privilege to be involved with NACOA and to be involved with so many different nationalities people. I consider that a great honor. So thank you very, very much indeed. And still, if you need to ask me or write to me, you can always write to me through NACOA or chat to me personally on Zoom or Skype. Please feel free to do so. I invite you to do so. And I wish you luck with your wonderful work. It's all very much needed. I am familiar with Rotary Club, by the way. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other NACOA member want to speak who has joined Zoom meeting?
Yeah. So we can, I didn't hear your question.
Oh, is there any NACOA member joined?
Is the NACOA member?
He's on the panel now?
No, cannot get it. Sorry. There is nobody, no NACOA member with me. Also, we probably will link, and you can connect to Hillary and to NACOA and
Yes.
get involved. Has anyone of you, that's a personal question, has anyone of you had anything to do with the problem of addiction? That's a very, very difficult question.
Oh. Not in our
Bless our families, you know, there's quite a lot of that. Yeah.
Correct. Personally, we don't have, but I'm practicing psychiatrist. So I tend to see a lot of patients, their family and their children. Directly, we are seeing every day.
So you can always come to me, as I am an attachment theorist, developmentalist, you know, child psychologist by my first trade. So we can always exchange our information. So I would be delighted to do that.
Yes, thank you very much. We'll keep in touch. We'll stay in touch. Convey our regards to all NACOA members.
Thank you. I will.
Yes.
And my wishes to the whole country.
Thank you and good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.